My hands were shaking when I saw his wedding photo on my phone. I was standing alone on a busy street, cars passing by, people talking around me, but I could hear nothing. My heart dropped. My chest felt tight. The man who promised to marry me was smiling next to another woman. She was wearing a red dress. He was wearing the same watch I gifted him. My vision blurred. I could not breathe. I felt the ground move under my feet. Just a week ago, he held my hands and said, "Wait for me. I will fight for us." And now, he was married. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I wanted to disappear. That moment broke something inside me that I did not even know could break. I stood there, holding my phone, staring at his face, asking myself again and again, was I never enough? My name is Aisha. I am 26 years old. I live in a small city where everyone knows everyone. I work as a helper in a small clothing shop. My father passed away when I was 12. Since then, my mother and I have lived alone. We do not have much money. Our house is small. The roof leaks when it rains. But my mother always says, "We are poor in money, not in heart." I grew up hearing that. I am a quiet person. I do not talk much. I like simple things. I like tea in the morning. I like watching the sky change colors in the evening. I like listening to my mother's old stories at night. People say I am kind. I do not know if that is true, but I try to be good. My life was never big. It was slow and small, but it was mine. Before everything changed, my days were simple. I woke up early. I helped my mother with housework. Then I walked to the shop. The owner was strict but fair. I folded clothes. I helped customers. I smiled even when my feet hurt. In the evening, I came home tired but calm. My mother and I ate simple food and talked about our day. Sometimes we laughed over small things. Sometimes we were quiet. I felt safe in that routine. I felt like my life had a shape. I did not dream of big houses or cars. I only wanted peace. I only wanted a small corner where my heart could rest. Then he came into my life like a sudden storm. His name was Armin. I met him outside the shop one evening. He was standing near his car, talking on the phone. He dropped his wallet. I picked it up and ran to him. He looked at me with surprise and smiled. His smile was warm. He thanked me. That was all. Just a few seconds. But something about him stayed with me. The next day, he came to the shop again. He bought nothing. He just stood there, looking around. I felt nervous. He asked my name. I told him. He said his name. He said he lived in a big house near the hills. Everyone knew his family. They were rich. They owned land, shops, and factories. I had heard of them, but I had never imagined someone like him would talk to someone like me. After that day, he began to come often. Sometimes he bought a shirt. Sometimes he just stood there and talked. He asked about my life. He asked about my work. He listened. No one had ever listened to me like that before. I felt seen. Slowly, I started waiting for him. I counted the hours at work. I fixed my hair when I saw his car outside. My heart beat faster when he spoke my name. He told me about his life, too. He told me about the pressure from his family. He told me how lonely he felt in his big house. He told me he wanted a simple life, not just money and walls. Our talks grew longer. Our words grew softer. One evening, as the sun was going down, he looked at me and said, "Aisha, I feel peace when I talk to you." My face felt hot. I did not reply, but my heart replied for me. We started meeting after work. We walked on quiet roads. We sat near the river. He brought me tea. I brought him homemade food. We shared stories, dreams, and fears. He told me I was strong. I told him he was kind. Day by day, my world started to change. I was still poor. I still worked in the shop, but I felt rich inside. One night, he held my hand for the first time. My heart almost stopped. No one had ever held my hand like that. It felt safe. It felt right. I knew then that I loved him. 1 week later, he told me he loved me too. I cried that night, not from sadness, but from fear and happiness mixed together. But love is never alone. Love always brings storms with it. His family found out. One day, he came to me looking tired and broken. He said his parents were against us. They said I was not from a good family. They said I had no education. They said I was not worthy of their name. My heart sank. I knew this day would come. I told him we should stop. I did not want to break his life. He refused. He said he would talk to them. Days passed, weeks passed. Each time he met his parents, he returned more silent. They warned him. They threatened him. They said they would cut him off if he married me. He told me all this, and still he said, I will not leave you. I tried to be strong, but at night I cried quietly so my mother would not hear. I felt small. I felt like a burden. I felt like I was standing between him and his whole world. One day, his mother came to the shop. She stood in front of me and looked at me from head to toe. Her eyes were cold. She said, You will never be part of our family. Then she left. I didn't move for a long time after that. My hands were shaking. My heart felt heavy. That night, I told him to leave me. I told him I would not be the reason he lost his parents. He cried. He held my hands and said he would find a way. Then, 1 week later, I saw his wedding photo. After that moment on the street, I do not remember how I reached home. I only remember lying on my bed with my face on the pillow, crying until my eyes burned. My mother knocked on the door again and again. I did not open it. That night, my whole world fell apart. Every memory hurt. Every word he had said replayed in my mind. I felt foolish. I felt used. I felt empty. I stopped going to work for many days. I stopped eating. I stopped talking. My body was alive, but my heart was dead. One evening, my mother sat beside me. She held my hand and said, Aisha, pain will not kill you, but silence will. Her words broke me. I cried in her arms like a child. I told her everything. She listened without anger, without blame. She only said, You loved deeply. That is not a sin. That night, I slept a little for the first time after many days, but the pain did not leave. It lived inside me. I woke up crying. I went to sleep crying. I blamed myself. I blamed my fate. I thought I was not good enough for love. I thought poverty was my curse. My shop owner called me many times. I did not answer. Finally, after 2 weeks, I went back to work. People looked at me with pity. Some whispered. Some avoided me. The world felt heavy. Every place reminded me of him. The road where we walked, the river where we sat, the bench where he held my hand. Everything hurt. One day, he came to the shop. I had prayed for this day and feared it at the same time. He stood in front of me in silence. His eyes were full. He said, They forced me. I did not reply. He said, I had no choice. I still said, Nothing. He tried to touch my hand. I stepped back. That was the first time I felt stronger than him. I said, You always had a choice. Then he left. That was the last time I saw him. After that, something changed inside me. My pain did not go away, but my fear did. I did not want to live like a broken shadow anymore. I told myself, that if love could break me, then I would rebuild myself with my own hands. I began to work harder. I saved every small amount of money. I learned stitching from an old woman near my house. I worked in the shop during the day and stitched clothes at night. My fingers hurt, my eyes burned, but my heart began to feel alive again. Months passed. My stitching first failed many times. The clothes looked bad. Customers did not like them. I cried again. But this time, my tears were not from weakness. They were from effort. I kept trying. Slowly, my hands became better. My mother began helping me. One day I sold my first dress. It was not much, but it felt bigger than gold. I felt proud. I felt independent. I no longer waited for love to save me. I was saving myself. 2 years passed. I left the shop and opened a small corner of my own near the market. I stitched clothes there. Some days were good, some were slow. But every day, I felt stronger than the last. People no longer saw me as the poor girl who lost a rich boy. They saw me as a working woman. I still missed him sometimes. I still remembered his smile, but it no longer controlled my life. One day, I heard that his marriage was not happy. He lived in his big house, but he was lonely. I felt a strange peace when I heard that. Not joy, not anger, just peace. I realized then that my life had moved forward while he remained stuck in the same cage, only with new walls. Today, I sit in my small shop. The sun comes through the window. My mother sits beside me and folds clothes. I am not rich. My house is still small, but my heart is big again. I learned that love does not always end in marriage. Sometimes love ends in strength. Sometimes the person you lose gives you back yourself. I once thought I was nothing without him. Today, I know I am everything without him. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share.